flag without a pole. Wendy was a flag without a pole. This, she had been told many times, was a problem. It was not how a flag was supposed to live. The nation had been built by flags and poles. Heck, the nation itself was one giant flag on a pole. Wendy spent most of her time being blown around willy-nilly by the wind, searching for a pole of her own. Occasionally, she'd flap into a flag already perched firmly on a pole, and that flag would usually offer some utterly useless piece of advice. One day, she bumped into a flag with a blue star. "Greetings," Wendy said. "Hello, Polar's flag," said Blue Star. "What can I help you with?" "I'm looking for a pole to live my life on." "You don't just get a pole," said Blue Star. "You have to work for it and build it from the ground up. I didn't climb up here by flapping around on the breeze. I thought a human hoist you up from the bottom by pulling a small rope," Wendy said. The wind picked up and carried her away before Blue Star could respond. But this advice affected her. She spotted a stick poking awkwardly out of the ground of the local common. "Maybe this could be my pole," she thought. She wrapped herself around it and held on. For a little while it felt good, but the stick couldn't hold the weight of Wendy and slowly began to lean. Then a Doberman trotted over and peed on the corner of her fabric. Other dogs followed, lightly attracted by the pea scent. Surely being poleless is better than this, Wendy thought. But Wendy had grown attached to her makeshift pole. She was too afraid to leave it behind now. That is until two young boys broke it in two so they could play sword fighting. Once again, Wendy was poleless. She drifted with the wind again and soon found another poleless flag crumpled in a gutter. It was tattered and torn, soaked through to its fibres and smelling like a fishmonger's. "Greetings," Wendy said. "What do you want?" rasped the gutter flag. "I'm looking for a pole to live on," Wendy said. "Can't help you there," he muttered, "but you'd better find one before you end up like me." A seagull flew down and picked up the gutter flag, shaking it in its beak before flying off with it. Wendy felt a shiver down her seam. Gutter flag was right. She would have to double her efforts to find a pole. The wind carried her again. She bumped into a pink flag attached to a shiny pink pole. "Greetings," said Wendy. "Ah, a poleless flag," the pink flag said in a high-pitched voice. "How can I help you?" "I'm looking for a pole." "Desperately," Wendy admitted. "Oh, how awful," said Pink. "I really do feel for flags like yourself, but I may be able to help you out. I know a place where other poleless flags gather. They might be able to find a pole." The wind guided her there. The community of poleless flags was colourful, ragged and chaotic. Some were wrapped around broken fences, some tangled on lampposts, and some draped over rusted, abandoned cars. The only rule was that everyone helped with the building and maintenance of the leader's pole, the tallest one in the area. After several weeks, Wendy spoke to a faded green and red flag with frayed edges. "This is ridiculous," Wendy said to frayed edges. "What do you mean?" Frayed Edges asked. We're all helping this arsehole build his pole taller and taller, but we're all still poleless. We know, said Frayed Edges. But what are we going to do? Where else can we go? He does have a point, Wendy thought, as she considered whether to stay or leave. But before she could decide, a storm with gale-force winds scattered the community. Wendy soared high into the sky. She soared higher than she'd ever been, far above the tallest flagged pole. Everything looked tiny from this height. The poles, the flags, the poleless flags. They all looked the same from up here. Eventually, she came to rest on a cloud. Greetings, Wendy said. What brings you all the way up here? Said the cloud. The wind blew me here, she said. That means you were meant to come, the cloud replied. So you must have a question. I would ask where I could find a pole to live my life on, but I'm not sure that is within your area of expertise. You might be surprised. Ask away. Where can I find a pole to live my life on? The cloud shifted, mist swirling in shapes that dissolved and reformed. Why do you want to live your life on a pole? I guess so I don't get peed on by dogs, Wendy admitted. And so I don't end up as a soggy gutter flag. Wendy watched the clouds form, twist and transform as she waited for its response. All flags end up in the gutter eventually, it said, even those on the tallest poles. That is the nature of being a flag. Wendy sagged and her corners dropped. The cloud was right. Even the flags and poles eventually get taken down and thrown in the trash. The cloud sighed and smiled. Come closer, said the cloud. Look down below. Wendy floated over to a gap in the mist. The world spread out endlessly. The other flags just tiny dots on a vast, wind-swept narrative. Do you like the view? The cloud asked. Yes, Wendy said. I love the feeling of freedom it gives me. There was a brief pause as they both gazed down at the world below. No flag on a pole will ever see this view, said the cloud. Wendy breathed out a sigh. When she looked back up, the cloud had already evaporated. She floated down, carried by the breeze. Wendy still didn't have a pole, but then again, maybe she didn't need one right now.